like a fish lens, so if you can get zoom digitally and
Is there someone in the back directing it, like a live sports cast?
Yeah, they're using two cameras. One is an upgrade. Last time it was just one.
yeah.
So, yeah, this is, someone's doing it already.
This way, this way.
This one? This forward. And I need to use the mic for the sound.
I just want to.
Be really good. I don't understand what's happening in this country. I saw this sign on the street. It was outside a store. Someone's fallen in love with the Ukrainian women.
Someone stole that girl.
Someone said, someone who liked my coat and hat, please contact me. I like his coat and hat. Maybe I'll contact him.
Maybe it was stolen. It's like a creative way to get to the.
Shall we?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Is everybody here?
Is every
Two people waiting.
Okay.
Anybody? Everybody out? Everybody in there?
Pink Floyd has this song inside the movie. Is everybody here?
Anybody out there? This is Pink Floyd. Is there anybody out there?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, right.
You sound just like David Gilmour.
Oh, thank you. That's a big compliment. Watch me, hear me play the guitar, then you'll think it's something else. Hi everybody, welcome back. Hello. Thank you for the feedback. It's always good to get some attention back. I hope you had a beautiful lunch and a fruitful conversation earlier this morning with the enemies, the distributors. No, just kidding. No, come on. Oh, sorry. Was the camera on? Okay. Now we're going to do a very nice workshop. We have a special guest flown in for how many hours?
No, just an hour and a half.
10 hours. No, but how many hours are you here in?
Oh,
He's 48 hours in Sofia. So hit and run, that's what they call in the movies. Okay. I'd like you to give you the word, and we are agreed to announce you as John B. So a big applause for John B, because you can see his name, and I really don't know how to pronounce it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan de Bont. It's so weird talking into a microphone when you're right here, but I'll do it. So yeah, I'm John. Hello. Last time I was here was 9 years ago, 2016, where I was one of the lab leaders, like these good people. It's great to be back in Sofia. What I'm going to talk about, this session isn't really about me telling you anything you don't know. It's about getting feedback from you. For the context, I'm doing a network-wide survey, and some of you might receive, is there an echo?
Yes, it is.
Am I in the wrong place? It's all like this all day? No problem. I love the sound of my own voice. So this is about gathering data from you. The project that we're doing is a survey across the whole network, Europa Cinemas, around subscription services, like some of you already are part of, like Cineville or MUBI Go, or the multiplex partners. So we're trying to understand the nature of this model, its impact, and whether more people should look at adopting these models. So I'm just going to go through an overview of the marketplace, subscription services, some ideas around that, and then I really want to hear from you guys, and we're at the end going to split into groups and then come back to essentially give me your feedback about these services. So the reason I put this here is that everyone here is too young to remember, but milk delivery used to be, it was one of the original subscription services. You pay the same amount every month, and you receive milk in your door, and then you send back the bottles, and you get it back. The reason I'm saying this is because it's not an original idea. You know, we've all subscribed to magazines, newspapers, cable packages. Subscription, paying a flat fee for something that you get in return is obviously an old idea. But what has changed is how predominant it is. So here are some examples of some of the dominant subscription services that are in our life. And on the left, obviously, you have lifestyle things like gym, food, a lot of subscription services that send you meals. On the lower end, things like Substack and Patreon have become alternative for creatives to present their work directly to consumers through a subscription service, so you can support your favorite writer, artist, musician. Spotify, of course. Prime sits right in the middle between, you know, their biggest thing is selling toilet paper, but they also do movies, right? So they sit right in the middle of what is the ultimate subscription model, which is, you know, which Amazon wants, is to be the single space where you do everything, right? You get all your groceries, you watch movies, you buy everything. And of course, on the right-hand side, in the last few years, the dominance and rise of streaming, led by Netflix, but obviously followed by all the big studios. So, you know, this is stuff you already know. So, looking at the different services that are out there, and I think, who here is part of one of these? Cineville? MUBI Go? Anyone? Interesting. So, with Cineville, and again, there are members here who know that history better, but it's very much about protecting and developing art house cinemas, coming together almost in opposition to the multiplex model. And you know, Cineville was born from the fact that Pathé controls 80% of the market in Netherlands, and independent cinemas in Amsterdam to begin with were looking for a way to consolidate and grow, and Cineville was born from that. So it's very much about venue focused, right? MUBI Go, which is something that I launched and up until recently was expanding across the world. It's now in multiple countries. Is about the film, so it's curated, meaning every week MUBI picks one film that you should watch in the cinema, and they give you a ticket to do it. So any cinema that is playing that film, you can go and use that ticket if they're part of the network. And so it's not an unlimited model, which is different from Cineville, in which you pay a subscription and you can watch any film in the Cineville cinemas. The multiplex models, like Pathé in the UK, we have Odeon, Cineworld. Across Europe, I know Kinepolis, Cineplex, all these have different models of subscription, but really they're just about saving money, right? So this is for consumers that want to watch mainstream product, but want to pay less. So the multiplexes, and of course they were the first ones to do this in France. Pathé UGC in 1991, I want to say, launched the unlimited model, and of course now all cinemas in France have to accept that. And then indie memberships, which all of you, who here in their cinema has a membership program? Or like a Friends of the Cinema program, so the majority. And these are about focusing attention on your own venue, increasing admissions for your venue, loyalty, and so on. So those are like the models that exist. Please, if anyone has a question at any point, please ask me. Okay, this is from the 2023 Europa Cinemas network survey, in which the question was asked, what are the threats to recovery and growth, post-pandemic, of course? Because all these things are happening in tandem, right? The closure of cinemas at the beginning of the pandemic led to the rise of streaming, and now everyone's back, but the recovery, we're still not fully there. And some of you are doing really well in your countries and others less so, but overall, the entire exhibition industry, including multiplex, is still 25% down on it where it was in 2019. So you can see the business cost of living. I mean, this is from 2023, which was, of course, a peak inflationary year, lots of energy costs, and there is a new survey. I think, Maria, is there a survey going out this week or next week? Or so some of you will receive a new survey, and some of these questions will be asked again, and it'll be interesting to see could I get just from the room, is there anyone here who could tell me, has your biggest threat to recovery changed since last year? So number one was business costs. Is this still the number one threat in your venues to recovery? The cost of running business? I see a lot of yeses. I see a no. Can anyone elaborate? Maybe can we get a mic to the no person, maybe? Can I? Yeah? Interested to see why.
Yeah, we were forced to move. We were forced to move in the smaller cinema, so the business costs were reduced for us. But we have different problems now.
And then maybe someone who nodded. I mean, right next to you. You said yes, sir.
Yeah, the business costs for us are the biggest obstacle. We are financed by the municipality, but this is the biggest amount that we need to put out.
So the cost of just operating the business still continues to be your number one problem, basically. Okay. Cost of living, home viewing being the third one is obviously referring to things like Netflix. Does anyone here feel like that is still a threat to your business and to your audiences? I'm seeing a lot of no. Can I get you to say why not? Why not? They're still working on the microphone. Here.
Yeah, I mean, very briefly, I don't exactly have the data to back it up.
I hope it works now.
But my impression, being from Cinema Galerie in Brussels, is that our audience is largely composed of young people who are a bit of a cinephile and kind of politically engaged communities that are like up to speed with our programming and kind of identify with not just us, but the other 7 art house cinemas in Brussels. And yeah, my personal impression, also from my friendship groups as well as my work, is that it's not really a threat per se, and they may have a MUBI subscription, they may watch a lot of movies on Streamio or a platform like that, but it doesn't stop them from coming to the cinema, in my opinion. Yeah.
And do we think, because I think...
Sounds nice both times, your voice. Don't worry.
I think that, because the home viewing part of the threat, I feel like, was very strong. You know, say 2 years ago, we all felt like, God, no one is coming out there, just sitting at home watching movies. But do we feel in general that that is sort of, the novelty of being able to stream any movie at home has faded away a little bit, or anyone? Or you? Yeah, here's one here.
I have looked into different streaming services a lot. When they have moved into Estonia or out of Estonia, we did some research into the area, like how it affects and how it does. And what it actually has happened is they are killing themselves. So streaming services are killing each other, so we as cinema don't really have to do anything. Because there is very little overlap, and their own models to isolate themselves makes it almost hard or impossible to get their content. So what ends up happening is I'm going to the cinema because I have no idea where this movie is, right? So, and they are also raising their costs to the point that it's like, no, thank you. So, as much as I have watched into it, I have zero worries about it.
Since I've been here, I've heard a lot of people talking about having a big obstacle reaching a young audience, and I think that's part of it, because like teenagers it's easier and cheaper for them to go to Netflix and Disney Plus that are often paid by their parents than pay themselves the same price for only one film in the cinema. So that is still a problem, but I think just for that kind of audience, just for the
teenagers specifically?
Yeah, for us, I think it's specifically
but I think, yeah, and just even pre-pandemic and pre-streaming, I think everyone agreed that young audiences, obviously we always want to reach them, but how we define what a young audience is also tricky because it's a big, 18 to what, 40? It's a huge gap. And I think, when you look at cinemas, maybe in the Netherlands that are very successful, and you look at their average age of the customers, it's probably like late 30s, early 40s at the latest, which is, for art house, is very young, right? So I think the ambition to have 18-year-olds in your cinema will always be a challenge, even without the streaming, because they're in that phase where, their parents are going to your cinema. It's sort of like they want to be in the shopping, the generalizations, of course. But when you're 18, you're figuring yourself out, apart from like those hardcore cinephiles, which I'm sure many of them are here, thinking when I was 18, I knew exactly what I wanted. I was in my local art house cinema, but the majority are not. And so, no, it's interesting whether it's almost like if we can divide the young audiences into segments and think, well, because we basically have children and young audiences, but within young audiences, if we all had 35-year-olds coming to our cinema, we'd be very happy. We'd say we have a relatively young audience. Okay, sorry, there were more people with their hands up. Oh, there's two there.
Yeah, without also having the data here to back it up, my impression for Norway is that, people were very good at isolating at home during the pandemic, and then we have the whole, culture, how do you say, culture, life, kulturlivet. Kind of suffered, and it was very slow for people to come back from that. But now my impression is that there is the one aspect where people now are looking to get out of the house more, like they have done that for a long time, and it's maybe only now, like the last year and this year, that we're seeing more and more towards full recovery. And the other aspect of it, like we talked about both in the workshops and also outside just now, the part of our project, which is the community building, and it's not just sitting down, being silent and watching the film, which is great in itself, but it's like, there's, why did you start coming to the cinema? Like, why are you continuing going? And our Cinematheque has a youth offer that is run or like programmed by teenagers, like 6 teenagers, whether 15 to 18 years old now. And they have the highest and most like stable numbers all through the year, like independently of what they screen, it seems. And I think this is a really it's a good aspect to bring also when talking about the teenagers, like before they were students. They very cheap tickets, but they are like a group of young people who like seek this kind of community, because outside of school and outside of maybe like some physical activity centers, there aren't really like offers for teenagers for a community, right? Adults, they know more what they have different interests. It's not, I mean, teenagers do as well, but sometimes they just want to hang out with other teens as well. And so I think this is a good thing to bring from it, at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it seems from that lesson is that giving the teenagers themselves the agency and the power to run it makes it, because if it's just a bunch of people like me with white beards programming for teenagers, not going to work. So that's cool. Sorry, there was, yes, over here. Here you go, use mine.
Thank you. What I have seen working at a movie theater for 8 years and living through the lockdown, at least in Spain, people were very eager to go back to the movie theaters because they needed that place where they could focus on one thing, just like movie, and they also wanted to give back to the culture. So they wanted to help movie theaters, at least in our case, and also because a lot of, I think, since social media, TikTok, and all those short media consume, a lot of people, maybe younger generations, have a little bit of a short attention span. I think that a lot of people have noticed this, and they are coming a lot back to the movie theater to be able to see the movie and actually enjoy it and see the movie, because a lot of people, when they are watching it at home, they are doing a lot of other things and they are actually not watching the movie. They are just like consuming. And that's why I have seen a lot of groups of friends from 20 years, maybe a little bit younger or older, that come to the movie theater to watch a movie together, and then they are going to eat dinner together and discuss about the movie. That's at least what I have seen in our movie theater, and that's why I think a lot of people are starting to come back, and we are really doing really well, and also in that aspect, because I think people need they have the need to be able to focus, because everything is so quick that there's need to be a stability.
Am I the only one who is having troubles understanding everything? Is it?
I mean, it's driving me insane, but
Yeah.
I'm not used to it.
Okay, but then.
Hello?
Okay. Then my suggestion is that you are going to fix this, and then the internet will have a slight delay, and we are going to do this because maybe it's really killing the entire.
Yeah, no, I would love that. I think you might.
But but it is streaming, so.
Okay, I can speak very loud. I can project in the gallery.
Dobre, en 2.
That it's frowned upon to use. You can go to a concert, you can go to a sports event, even in the theater, people are looking at the phone. In the cinema, because of the nature of it, I mean, some people do it still, but in your cinemas, I'm sure you're not very tolerant of this behavior, which creates a haven, a sanctuary to enjoy culture that is completely separate from this infernal thing that runs our lives. And I think that is incredibly valuable. And you're right that people in the last few years we've had this explosion of content channels and I can't stay focused on anything anymore. And going to the cinema requires you to sort of submit to it and not go, oh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening on Instagram? And that part of it is so healthy, I think, for all of us. And we offer, like as a cinema sector, are the only place that offer that. And the multiplex can't offer that because they can't guarantee that that won't happen in their cinemas. In fact, it happens a lot in their cinemas, right? And they don't have any interest in spending money on enforcing it or dealing with it. So we have this unique selling point as independent and art cinemas to create a cultural sanctuary that doesn't exist in any other spot. You go to a gallery, all you're doing is fucking taking pictures of the thing, right? Sorry, I'm trying to be person.
We're not having a microphone anymore.
Okay, so what I wanted to do, and this is the part I really wanted to hear from you guys more, is just, and we'll divide into groups shortly so you can go more deeper, but at a first level, those of you who already are part of subscription services like Cineville, I guess Cineville is the one that you're members of. Yeah. And then for everyone else, there may not be something like this in your country, or maybe there is and you haven't joined it. So I just wanted to hear from people who are not part of a subscription service, if they have considered it, if they would, or if they think that there's what are the obstacles, I guess, to it. So maybe if there's anyone here who'd like to, any thoughts about if you've thought about your cinema being part of something like this. Anyone? Never, no one, because I know Cineville is also expanding across Europe, so some of you may have been approached.
We're new to Cineville, so maybe I can
Yeah,
share
please.
why we
Yes,
joined. So Cineville in Flanders, so it's the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, it's new. And we wanted to join because we see that it's trend viewing. Like everyone's watching the current, and they follow like 10 films, and we kind of depend on those 10 films. And we joined Cineville because we hope that people want to try more. So maybe I'm going to watch the film that isn't the trend as well, because it might be good as well, but then I don't have to pay as much. So that's one of the reasons we chose Cineville.
Because it like incentivizes risk
Yeah.
in the audience,
Yeah.
because they've already paid for it, so why not try a film they've
Yeah.
never heard of, right? And you're seeing, how long have you been doing this in Singapore?
Since November, so only a couple of months. And we see that, for instance, in Antwerp, there are 3 cinemas where you can use your Cineville card, and it works better than, for instance, in Mechelen, where there's only 1 cinema you can use your Cineville card. So if you can combine different venues with a broader program, it works better.
How does it work? I don't know what Cineville is.
Oh,
I have a
see.
presentation on it in a bit.
Oh, right. But I'll give you the 30-second summary. Because you pay, I think, depending where you are, it's about 20 euros a month.
Yeah.
And you get a card, and with that card you can get free tickets to any of the cinemas in the Cinema network.
Okay.
So the idea is, rather than buying individual tickets, you've created what you call a sunk investment. Right? You've already invested in this thing, so you have this propensity to try and make the most of it, which means more cinema visits, different types of movies. You know, this is the data that I'm trying to gather, is like the impact of that on cinemas. And we know, at least in the Netherlands, there are really good results in terms of admissions and the share of tickets that come from cinema customers in cinemas. It's a success story. So we're trying to understand how could it work in Europe next year.
Yes, Cineville approached us as well. And I did not deny it because I didn't see enough information to be convincing. Because my problem was, for example, let's say that we control our cars C, and like we depend on the return customer.
Sorry, you're from Estonia, you said?
Estonia. And for example, we have a lot of customers that watch like 40 movies in a month. So pretty much what we are doing, we are not giving 40 tickets for the 20 euros. Right? So I was like, I don't really want to do that because they are the ones that are every single movie. So now I'm just.
And there are other. Well, how many art houses are there? Are you in Tallinn or where are you?
Tallinn.
And how many art houses? 7 art houses. And you're one of them?
One of them. Yeah.
And so you think the people who come to your cinema, they're just going to get the same tickets, but they'll get it for cheaper.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're watching movies all the time, this is what I actually did when I was younger. Because they had a single program for the multiplex cinema, right? So I did quick calculations of what nice. Because I'm watching 150 movies in cinema, I might as well buy a ticket, and I was the reason why they stopped doing it. Because I took it to the extreme. So, and
you broke it for everybody.
yeah, and there's no reason why it can't happen again. So I was like, I need more information. I didn't say no, because there's always a possibility. It kind of seemed like that we're punishing more successful to help less successful.
A very nice example linking to your. I haven't mentioned to you, but I used to be in the board member of Cineville in the Netherlands as well, so I have pretty knowledge in that area. But one thing that happened in my town, we are 3-screen cinema. And there is also an independent 1-screen cinema. They have nothing to do with us. We all screen art houses. And we always had like a competition with them. And we saw that like 60% of their screenings was like the same movies that we were screening. So I called them and I said, hey, would it be an idea that you apply for Cineville? And they were saying the same things. Oh, the people are coming there, going to your venue. There were a lot of fears. But I had trouble with them that we sometimes made a program and then we had the same movie at the same time in a city of 40,000. And that's